Hey, it's Lauren with Beadbox Bargains, and we're here today to just go over some of the different ways you can attach a pendant to your necklace. So, first of all, some pendants will come with a bail. That's this top piece here. And this is a clip-on bail. It's all one piece, but you can sort of fold this forward to clip on or off. There are lots of different kinds of bails, and some pendants will come with them, like this one. Now, others don't. For example, you can have metal pendants that just have a top loop, or gemstone pendants that are top drilled. And today we're going to go over just a couple easy ways to add them to your necklace chain or design, or however you would like to be using said pendant. So first off, we have what's called an ice pick bail. And this one also has this isn't a pinch bail, this is actually a soldered little bail part attached, but some of them will just have the top loop and you could use a jump ring or something. But this particular kind, you've got a couple dimensions to be aware of. First of all, the dimension, the height here from the pins to the top of the pinch bail is important because it has to be tall enough to accommodate the space between your drill hole and the top of your pendant. Secondly, the diameter of the pins is important. They have to be able to fit through your hole, and the overall length of the pins is important. You don't want them too long or too short to be able to fit through your pendant, or so long that the pendant just slides back and forth a lot. That doesn't look great either. So you want to be as close with maybe a 0.5 millimeter at least to spare in the width, and I like to have at least 1 to 2 millimeters extra in the height because that gives you a little room to swivel, and it doesn't look it also will give the bail more room to close and pinch, and it just doesn't look like stuffed. So we have here today a couple different sizes, just to give you some examples. So these that I'm using here are Find 47.29 at Beadbox Bargains. And this is one of our new pendants this week. I believe this one is Gems 4117, unless I have grabbed the wrong bag. But anyway, we've got some fun, different styles to look at. So to use a pinch bail, I know they look a little scary, but they're very, very simple. You would just take your pliers. I'm using nylon-coated pliers if I can. Sometimes my wrists don't cooperate with me and I have to use my other ones. But I like nylon-coated pliers because you're not going to muss up the coating. And then I'm just going to grab it and kind of swing it open like this. You see you've got some room here. I'm trying to make enough space. They need to be open a little more. And I'm actually going to grab just my round nose pliers for this. And I'm just going to swing it open even a little wider. If you can see that, there we go. So that I have room to stick the bottom pin in this pendant. Alright, and now I just need to swing it down. And you want to do this gently, keeping the pins in line with each other. So I like to do it just by hand, and then I'll give it a squeeze with my nylon-coated pliers, just to help it really get nice and shut. There we go. And here we have our pinch bail. So now you can easily add this piece to a chain or a necklace using that nice top bail. It's very simple, and it just works very nicely for pieces that are top drilled front to back. Okay, so we've used a pinch bail on our gemstone pendant. That's going to make it nice and easy to string on a chain. But suppose you've got a metal pendant with a top loop. You could technically put a pinch bail through that top loop, but it would look a little weird. You don't have the nice gemstone to hold those pins. It wouldn't really work ideally. So for a piece like this, I would typically use a tube bail to attach it to my design. So you'll need a tube bail and you'll need a jump ring. Now, you don't want to string directly through this hole because it's not going to sit nicely. It's going to want to go sideways on your string that way. That's not what we're going for. So instead, we're going to attach the tube bail and then we'll string the tube bail as part of our design. It's just very simple and easy. Just got to open up your jump ring here. So I usually grab each side, and you do want to swing to the side, you don't want to uncurl it open. You just want to swing it towards you or away from you. I usually swing it towards me. There we go. Because it can be very hard to get closed again otherwise. So we're just going to put our bail, our tube bail, and our pendant in that jump ring. And there we go. Technically, you could also use a jump ring to hang it. You can use 2 jump rings, but the tube bail has the advantage of being an actual bead that the wire can go through. I don't like to put wire through jump rings because it doesn't matter how nicely you close it. If there's any tiny little gap, it'll eventually work its way through. So, okay, so here's our tube bail. And now we're just gonna string it, and you could continue with your design, beading either side of it as normal. Alright, so we've used a pinch bail here, and we've used a tube bail. But what if you don't have a bail in your stash and you want to attach a top drilled pendant to your necklace? Well, there are a couple different things you can do. A lot of different things you can do, but I'll show you a few things that I have done before. So if you have a nice thick monofilament, I'm using a black one here just because it'll show up better, but I would typically use a clear one, or your favorite sturdy thread. You can make a very simple beaded bail. So I am using 3.2 millimeter spacers. You're going to need some small spacers and a middle tone that matches your design. And I just string the cord through the pendant and then add enough beads on each side to reach up over the pendant. And then I'm going to tie it off at the back of the pendant. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to try 6 and see if that will work. Because you want to leave enough room to get your chain or cord or whatever you're using through. And again, I would use a clear monofilament normally, but I'm doing the dark one because it'll show up better for you. Alright, so I'm going to try knotting this. Here we go. And I think it will look better if it has one more bead. I think an odd number, just it gives you a nice top bead. So I'm going to put a 7th bead on there. And this is a single loop beaded bail. I'll show you in a minute how I like to make a double loop bail with tiger tail. So first off though, we're going to do a square knot at the back. So we're going to go right side over and around the left, and then left side over and around the right here. Alright. I just have to keep that knot from, keep all the beads from going into the first knot while I tie the second knot, which is easier said than done with this particular cord. Okay, there we go. So you tie a nice tight knot, and I'm going to do another one. Again, this is, I would do this on the side that you're intending to be the back. So here we go, another square knot, and now we're just going to trim off the excess. You can put a drop of glue or clear nail polish on that knot to hold it. Alright, and now you have a nice little top loop. You can just slide your chain or beading wire or whatever you're using right on through there. So that's a really easy beaded bail that you can make if you don't have a metal bail handy. Alright, I'm going to cut this off, and I'm going to show you one more style of beaded bail that if you wanted to make a wire necklace with tiger tail, this is one of my favorite ways to do it, mostly because it's just fun to see how it comes together. Okay, so to make the beaded double bail, the first thing you're going to do is cut your tiger tail wire to as long as you want for your whole project, and leave at least an extra 3 inches for the bail, just so you don't run short at the end. Once again, I'm using 3.2 millimeter spacer beads. You can use any kind of small spacer bead you want. You're going to need an odd number on this side. So I'm going to use, I think, 7 again. And we'll see, maybe it doesn't have to be that long. Maybe 5 will be enough. But I'll try, I'll put 5 on here and I'll give it a shot. And we'll look and see. But you'll want a center bead. Okay, so I'm going to see, we'll give it a shot with 5. And if that doesn't look long enough, I think that'll work. It needs to go a little more than half. I'm going to go ahead and just do 7 because I don't want to show you it too short and have it not look pretty. So, shouldn't have doubted myself. There's 7. So 7 beads. Again, the odd number is important. The exact number you'll need will vary depending on the thickness of your pendant and the size of your beads. Now we're going to take both ends and we're going to thread them both through the same direction. And here we go. We're going to pull it tight. So we've got a little loop sticking off the back of your pendant now. And yeah, you want it to come pretty easily up and over the tip of your pendant. So 7 was the right number there, if you can see there. Okay, so now you're going to take that number, subtract 1, and divide it in half. So we need 7 minus 1 is 6, so we need 3 beads on each string here. And then the fun part. I just really like how this little bail comes together. So 3 beads on each side of the wire here. Definitely just dropped one. But there we go. 3 beads on each wire. And now we're going to come back and we're going to run the beads through opposite directions through that center bead, which is why an odd number is important. So the 4th bead of the 7, the one that's sitting up there at the center, I'm going to take the strand on the right. I'm going to run it towards the left. And I'm going to take the strand on the left. And I'm going to run it towards the right. And be careful not to kink your wire there. And then you're just going to pull it tight. And now you've got this fun, like, double looped bail. And you can just continue to string your design as usual. I really like to use this as a donut bail too, because it looks really pretty around the middle of a donut. But you can use it for any design. And then you've got your design all lined up. Your wires are facing the right direction. You made a little double loop beaded bail. And then, yeah, I would typically, you can use really either side as the front. It doesn't matter, unlike with the single loop. Okay, I hope that's helpful. Just some different ideas, different ways you can attach pendants. Bails are incredibly useful and helpful, and there are so many other kinds of them as well. These are just a couple of my favorites and the ones that I use most frequently. And again, making your own bails is always an option as well. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that this little Beading 101 tip has been helpful. I would love to know, is there a method I did not cover that you like to use? What's your favorite way to attach a pendant to your necklace? Would love to hear that in the comments. Thank you all so much. And as always, happy beading.